Well, good evening and welcome to Meribel and in the heart of the French Alps for the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships 2026. It is a very special year this year. It marks 20 years since this championship came to Meribel, and it's 75 years since the first one took place. We don't know whether John Knighton was present at that one, but I'm sure he's watching live tonight. And of course, this opening ceremony takes place every year, and it's a really magical event. You will see torchlit descents tonight. We will have some fireworks at the end, and that's a warning to anyone who's watching. We will have fireworks in about half an hour. So just want to send off a warning there to anyone who's watching, that if you are sensitive to flashing lights, then perhaps you can leave the stream just before the fireworks come on at the end. But I'm delighted to bring you this event live. Like I said, it's a very special year. It is 20 years of being in the resort of Meribel and 75 years since these championships started. Gosh, how different it would have looked 75 years ago. Do you know what? It looked different 20 years ago. We now have an incredible set of athletes coming out. The Royal Navy are set to come out first, as they normally do traditionally as the oldest service, and every single service now has talent in every single discipline. Of course, you've got snowboarders, you've got the alpine skiers, and you've got the telemark skiers. And in the last 5 years, we've seen an incredible team effort to get female telemarking up to the standards it is now, largely led by the RAF, but of course the other two teams are putting their oar in, so to speak, as well. And that's a massive change that we've seen in the last 10 years at least. But like I said, we are celebrating 20 years. At the moment, we're going to see the Brigadier is going to introduce the teams as they march on to their own set of music. We'll be hearing from Meribel Tourism. We'll be hearing from CDS as well. The Chief of Defence Staff is here in his role with the UK Armed Forces Winter Sports Association. And of course, the best bit, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there will be two descents of the mountain. Very special this year. We normally see one from the ESF, but this year the athletes are also doing one. There's going to be 30 representatives from the armed forces, 10 from each service will be coming down with a torch lit procession. And I tell you what, that doesn't happen every year, and it's a really, really special moment for them. We are a little delayed here. We're just waiting a couple of technical issues with microphones and what have you, but you're not going to hear much from me when the event starts, but I just wanted to be able to give you a good briefing. We've got 5 really strong days of competition, which some events will of course be live on the Forces News YouTube channel. We of course are bringing you this opening ceremony, but we will be bringing you 4 more events, which I'll bring you details of at the end of this slide. But I'm being told that we are ready to go, so you're probably going to hear a bit of loud music. Every team walks on to their chosen bit of music. The Royal Navy are walking on to a piece of music called Heart of Oak. So for most of this broadcast, I will be leaving this to them.
Bonsoir et bienvenue au championnat interarmé de sport de neige 2026. Je suis le général de brigade Chris Hall, directeur du championnat. Pour plusieurs raisons évidentes, je vais poursuivre en anglais, si vous me le permettez. Honored guests, colleagues and friends of the United Kingdom Armed Forces Winter Sports Association, it gives me great pleasure as the director of the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships to welcome you here tonight for the start of this very special Inter-Services Championships. This marks the 75th iteration of this brilliant Tri-Services Championships, and, very happily, the 20th time we've been hosted and competed here in Meribel, a resort with long-standing British and military connections. So we are delighted to be able to continue in that history and tradition for this special 20th and 75th year. As many of you will know, these championships are the culminating event of the UK Armed Forces Alpine, Snowboard and Telemark competition seasons, and therefore bring together the best athletes across all three services in those three disciplines. I'm delighted also to welcome back this year competitors from the Armed Forces Para Snow Sports team, and it really is superb to have them here again. Yes. Woo! You'll meet them in a moment. All the military athletes have competed hard and successfully for their coveted places in their service team, many of them making the selection to be here for the first time this year. This is a rare opportunity to compete at a level that usually only national or aspirant level Olympians could expect to benefit from. It will truly test their skill, courage and mindset, and these are all the more important as we prepare as a nation for warfighting. So, without further ado, let's welcome this year's teams. Please welcome the Royal Navy teams.
And so we see the Royal Navy snowboarders, the Royal Navy telemarkers and the Royal Navy alpine skiers be introduced here on the screen. They're coming out to a piece of music called The Heart of Oak, and it was the Royal Navy telemarking men who actually won the combined event last year, and that was a really strong turnout from those, and it comes from a strong tradition, of course, with the Royal Marines who learned to telemark very early on in their careers. And so that is the Royal Navy coming on, very strong from them. And just a reminder, of course, that the Royal Navy will always march on first at most events because they are, of course, the senior service. Very quickly followed.
Well done, the senior service. Good to see the Alpiners actually marching. Not sure about the snowboarders at the back. Please now welcome the Army teams.
So the Army team are on their way in. The Army last year were combined winners, the female winners in telemark. They also won the combined competition in snowboard, and that went to the Army men. In the Alpine, it was the Army women who won the combined champions. And the order they come on is the Alpine skiers are at the front. You've got the telemark skiers in the middle, and in the back in the red jackets there, you've got Army snowboard. And like I said, it was the Army men who won the combined title last year in snowboard. The combined champions for the female races in snowboard was awarded to the Royal Air Force. So really good to see, of course, the Royal Navy there and the Army.
Same applies, I think, for the snowboarders. Right, it's a cultural thing. Okay, please now welcome the RAF teams.
So this is the light blue of the Royal Air Force, of course, very noticeable and proudly carrying a flag. Now last year it was the combined services, the combined champions in snowboard. The female snowboard race was won by the Royal Air Force. Of course, there are three events in snowboard. You've got the slopestyle, you've got the border cross, and you've got the parallel giant slalom. The RAF men also won the combined title in Alpine, and it is the Alpine team at the front there, followed by the telemarkers, and bringing up the back there is the RAF snowboarders in the slightly lighter blue. But there they are, that is the three services all complete, apart from, of course, the athletes will be coming down in the torchlit descent.
Exceptional. And the flag. Whee! Right, a very warm welcome to you all, competitors, and well done for getting this far. I would like to extend my personal thanks also to your hill teams from all three disciplines, because it goes without saying, without them, none of this would actually happen. And I know personally just how much work goes into it all, in resort and in the UK. So, the event you've all been waiting for. Hold on. And finally, please welcome members of the Armed Forces Para Snow Sports Championship.
So the Brigadier there are forgetting, unfortunately, about always the guests of honour at this event, the Armed Forces Para Snow Sport team, and everyone loves the entrance of these guys. You've got Swifty the snowboarder there in the front, and three other members of that team. And of course, some members of the Armed Forces Para Snow Sport team have just come back from Ukraine, where they went out to ski and snowboard with a lot of the armed forces out there in Ukraine. But such a welcome addition, and they are now making it an annual event that the Armed Forces Para Snow Sport team come out here, and you can see from the reception that they're getting quite how much and well received they are here in Meribel. Always an amazing sight to see.
I think I'm getting around it after this. Welcome, guys. Lovely to have you. Right now, the event you've all been waiting for. As a special treat for this 20th, 75th anniversary year, the ESF have been brave or foolish enough to welcome the Forces teams to participate in their entrance. So please, ladies and gentlemen, cast your eyes up the hill to see our remaining competitors join us in this ceremony, and then for the ESF to really see how it's done.
So, as the Brigadier rightly said, this is the bit that everyone waits for. And this year, because it is the 20th anniversary of being here in Meribel, and the 75th, of course, of the entire championships, these are 30 athletes from the UK Armed Forces Winter Sports Association. You've got 10 from each service. I'm not entirely sure which colour is being held by who, but if just a few names to mention that we've got coming down. Like I said, 10 from each service. A couple of the Navy athletes who are coming down. Able Rate Emily Reid. It's her first inter-services. She's been part of the Navy for just over a year. She's a marine engineer, and she used to live in Meribel, working in a ski chalet for 4 seasons. So no doubt Able Rate Emily Reid will perform well on the slopes as well. There's also leading hand Charlie Butterworth. He's a third time here at the Inter-Services. He's been in the service for 8 years. He's a weapons engineer, and his last day in the Navy is actually in 5 days' time. So well timed from Charlie Butterworth, who leaves the Navy in 5 days' time, but he gets in a trip out to Meribel to compete here at the Inter-Services. So just to reiterate, this is 30 athletes from each of the services, so there are 10 from each. I'm assuming the RAF have the blue ones at the front, but I have absolutely no inside information on that. And I'm assuming the Army have the red torches, which might leave the Navy with the white, but I cannot say that with authority. But this is a wonderful sight. This will be followed by the ESF. But it's the first time this has happened, that athletes have been involved in this. And I think you all agree this is why everyone comes out in the cold for the torchlit descents. An amazing sight, and what an amazing experience as well for some of these athletes, because I tell you what, I'd rather be up there doing that than on this microphone right now. It's really, really magical, and that slope is a World Championship slope, so it's a real privilege for all of them to be doing this as they now come onto the finish line. It's being led by the ESF, but really, really, really lovely to see. And they, of course, will line up, and they're getting a cheers from all of their athletes, comrades here on the right-hand side. And they will complete the square here in the stade as the 30 athletes from the military line up alongside each other. And actually, it's a mix of colours. The Army are not all holding the red. I think it's a mix of it, and it's really good to see some snowboarders in there as well. thrown in, so we've got all three disciplines represented, and a really good sight to see. So this happened for the first time last year. We've got the ESF torchlit descent, and instead of coming down with torches as they did in years before, last year we saw an incredible display which you're seeing now, where they actually have full light up suits. And this is something else. There seems to be one at the back which is slightly malfunctioning, but the ESF, of course, who have red jackets anyway, are coming down in the all red. We've got an odd one at the back who's switched to red now finally. But ESF are so integral to these championships. They set up the courses, they manage the courses, they change them 3 times a day when all the 3 disciplines have their training days. They monitor the courses as we go on, and they will complete the lineup of this square now being formed in the stade. The ESF, we could not do this championship without them, and that is a very much an understatement. They're integral, they run world championships, they also run this championship.
A fantastic display. So bravo ESF. Je vous remercie pour tout ce que vous faites pour le championnat chaque année. C'est incroyable. So, en anglais, many thanks to the ESF for such an amazing and fitting display. Mark and his ESF team, headed by Yannick, who's down there, are absolute legends, and they've done this over many years and make it so special. They're the driving force behind everything that happens here. So could we have a round of applause for them, please? So on this very important 20th anniversary year, I would like to invite the President of Meribel Tourism, Florence Surel, to say a few words. Florence.
I imagine this speech will be in French. I cannot translate it, but here we go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Meribel. It's always a pleasure to host you for your championships. And this has been the case for 20 years now. So I wish you great competition and wonderful moments in Meribel.
Marvellous, that was in English. I believe everyone will have understood.
Merci, Florence. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our President of the United Kingdom Armed Forces Winter Sports Association, Air Marshal Sir Richard Knighton, the Chief of Defence Staff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Monsieur, Madame, bonsoir et bienvenue. That is all the French you're going to get from me tonight. As my wife will tell you, it's not very good. As Chris has mentioned, this is a very special year. 75 years of the UK Armed Forces Winter Sports Association, and the competition is a big deal. It grew from just alpine events in 1951 to this brilliant festival of winter sports here in Meribel. This 75th anniversary is worthy of celebration, and it is a happy coincidence that this year also marks the 20th anniversary of running these championships here in Meribel. Over those 2 decades, we've built a wonderful relationship with this resort, and we're immensely proud to call Meribel our home for these championships. And I thank all those involved in hosting us here and delivering the opportunity of such a great competition. I'm especially grateful to Marc Bourreau, head of the ESF, and to Yannick Favier and the Hill teams, who have done such an outstanding job in preparing the pistes for this exclusive use of our alpine skiers, snowboarders and telemarkers this week. I also want to thank Gilles Lénard, the Director General of Meribel Tourism, and Laurent Merle, the commercial director of Meribel Alpina, Roman, and the many others who have supported us so well over many years here. Thank you for all your efforts and for your continued commitment. But what this week is about is competition and excellence. It's that competition and that excellence that builds the courage, the skill, the professionalism and teamwork of the men and women stood here in front of us. Those things matter in today's armed forces as much, if not more, than they have mattered over the last 51 years. These championships build those characteristics in our people. And we can't do this, and we can't have this championship without the amazing support of the sponsors. So I'm very happy to say that we are in an extremely healthy position with an unprecedented number of supporters visiting this week. So to all our sponsors and to all those who are here visiting, you are very welcome, and thank you for everything you do for Armed Forces Winter Sports. Thank you. Now, I must also make special mention of our key headline sponsor, BT, led here by John James, CEO of Business. It is, though, as well as BT as our lead sponsor, a team game, and we have 36 sponsors in total. And I'll make a specific point of naming the 14 race sponsors in alphabetical order, so no prioritisation, no preferential treatment. Advalus, Air Tanker, Airbus, Anduril, Babcock, Balfour Beatty, BFBS, BMT, BT, Dell Technologies, Endace, Palo Alto Networks, PwC, and Thales. Thank you all, and specifically, I hope you enjoy the races you sponsor. Thank you so much. Many of you and from the sponsors have been here before, and for those of you who have, thank you for coming back. And for those of you who are new, you are very welcome, and we are indebted to you all for making this event possible. Now, I want to take the opportunity to ask John from BT to say a few words. John.
Thank you, CDS. The quickest of words from me on behalf of BT and more importantly on behalf of all the sponsors. It is truly an honour to be the supporters of this truly unique event and to these truly unique athletes. For many of us, including BT, but many of the rest of the pack of sponsors, this is a long-standing commitment that we've made because it is such a unique event, and it represents so much of what it is that it means to support the armed forces today. And part of our long-standing strategic partnership across the armed forces. So thank you to all of you for welcoming us, and thank you for all the organising staff for putting together what is a spectacularly well-organised event. And we look forward to see you next year and for many years to come. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John. So lastly, I want to turn, and most importantly, to the athletes. We must remember that each and every one of those men and women stood there are first and foremost sailors, soldiers, and aviators. Many of their colleagues, their comrades, are out today serving somewhere across the world, keeping us safe, keeping our country safe, and keeping our interests safe. Many here weren't able to perform and to compete last year because they were away on operations. So to you, the athletes and the team managers, the coaches, I want to say, well done. Being selected to represent your service is a huge achievement. And whether it's your first time or you're a seasoned campaigner, be proud of what you've achieved. Enjoy this week and make the most of it. This event is for you. It's an opportunity for you to develop those skills, that courage, that discipline, that professionalism, that teamwork that we value so highly. So to all of the athletes, the coaching staff and officials, I wish you all every success this week. Be the best you can be and be proud of what you can achieve. We are all looking forward to seeing you in action. I'm enormously confident that those who held their inaugural inter-service championships back in 1951 would be very pleased to see us all here this evening on the eve of the 75th championships. We are all part of a very special legacy. As the president of the Armed Forces Winter Sports Association in this, the 75th year, I'm very proud of the organisation now, what it does and how it does it, and the excellent people behind the scenes and those in the elements competing that make it so. I hope that this continues for many years to come. So have a superb week. And now it gives me great pleasure to declare this very special 75th Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships open.
Just a warning to anyone watching, there will now be fireworks, as you can see, as we open up the UK Armed Forces Winter Sports Association's Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships of 2026. And this is also another one to celebrate the fact that it's 20 years here in Meribel and 75 years since, as the Chief of Defence Staff said there, of course, all started in 1951. Imagine how different things look there. But all athletes, all sponsors, all military ambassadors, all of ESF now absolutely mesmerised by these fireworks. A really special year here, and of course competition gets underway tomorrow. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind you to come back to the Forces News YouTube channel this week, because we are bringing you 4 different events over the course of this week. Tomorrow we have the snowboard border cross over in Monterey. We're bringing you that live. That is between 1 and 2 o'clock French time. So if you're watching in the UK, that'll be between noon and 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Then on Tuesday we're bringing the snowboard parallel giant slalom, which will be on this slope that we've just seen for the torchless descents. That's between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening, an hour earlier if you're watching from the UK. And that, of course, always a really exciting event, the parallel giant slalom, with snowboarders hurtling down this piece at top speeds. And then on Thursday we're bringing you 2 events. It will be the telemark parallel sprint in the morning, another exciting event where athletes go up against each other, and of course the telemark events themselves bring all the little nuances like the loom and the skate, and we all know that it's a tough sport to compete in. And then to final things off, a new event that's been introduced for this year, especially because it is a special year, is the parallel ski slalom in Alpine, and that takes place on Thursday before the before Meribel hosts a party for everyone here, because we are celebrating, of course, 2 very special years. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's 20 years of this championships in Meribel and 75 years of the championships overall. So please do come back to this Forces News YouTube channel throughout the week. We've got 4 more lives to bring you. Monday lunchtime, Tuesday evening, and on Thursday we've got the telemark in the morning, and then we have the Alpine slalom in the afternoon. It's also on BFBS, so if you are serving abroad, you'll be able to see that, and it is also on Facebook as well. So please do join us. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll try and bring you the best of the Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships live from Meribel. So everyone enjoys a firework display, and this is all very special for the guys here, of course. Just a reminder who you're getting to see this week. Got 3 disciplines, of course: snowboard, telemark and alpine. And as I said at the beginning of the programme, it's really important to notice how much some of those sports have come on over the years. For example, 5 years ago, there was a real effort to make sure that the telemarking was represented by both men and women. It was dominated, of course, by the men for many of years, but a massive drive by the Royal Air Force teams means that there's now a really good setup all across the forces in telemark. The alpine skier has always been that blue ribbon event, the downhill, which they're training for Tuesday morning, but that is a fireworks set complete. And it just remains for me to say, do join us for the rest of the week. Subscribe to that Forces News YouTube channel. You'll always be alerted to when there is live, but we are bringing you 4 of those during the rest of the week. And please tell us, please communicate with us, join our socials, and then we'll be able to bring you live to these championships when we can. And so the Meribel Inter-Services Snow Sports Championships in Meribel for the 20th year are officially open. 5 days of competition to follow. Much of that will be live, of course, as I've said, on the Forces News YouTube channel and on BFBS and on Facebook. So do join us. And I think everyone here is off to get some much-earned dinner. Good night, and we'll see you during the course of the week.